Get him off. Get him off.
We're in the lab, and we're gonna make sure this happens as soon as possible.
Welcome to an episode of the Sports Genes Into the Lab podcast, where sports analysts and experts dissect the latest news from the NBA and NFL, giving you a unique view on some of the hottest topics around your favorite teams. From the fresh field smells of the NFL to the hardwood courts of the NBA, and possibly your comfy couch for your fantasy football team. Let's see what kind of news the lab is working with today. Here's your host from the Sports Analytics headquarters in San Antonio, Texas, Ernest Silva.
Holy cow, pinch me now, or is it the sports scientist back on ITL? That's right. We got a full group tonight in week 0+. That's right. We are talking college football. We're talking top 10 running backs tonight, round 1, round 2, respectively. Check out your screens. They're here. The co-host of season number 6, Chris Borak, on your screen. Chris Borak, how's it going, brother? Welcome back.
Man, glad to be back, Ernest. Football is back. We got college football this Saturday, the last week of NFL preseason. Just an exciting time of the year. And we got October baseball coming. Playoff baseball is around the corner, and we also got the NBA about to start up. So it's the best time of the year. I'm so glad to be back in the lab.
Borak, it's good to have you back, man. How was your summer? Did you have a good summer?
A great summer. Kids started school this week, so it's been a little bit hectic, but glad to be talking sports again.
Let's go. Let's go. Chris Borak, everybody, back. You can catch him on his tag at ClutchCity52. Check him out on Twitter. Some of all those other places they can find you, Chris Borak. We'll put you out on the posting. But don't look now. Also coming back, making a season 6 debut, Kenny Cotterill. Kenny Cotterill at Hedge Pod is where you're going to find his content. Kenny, tell the people, how was your summer and what you up to?
Summer's fine. I still suck at golf, which is tough because I pay so much to do it. But I mean, other than that, I've been in decent spirits. It's nice to have some football back. Super fired up for tonight to be back on ITL. So let's do this.
Kenny, I heard that you were extremely excited to talk about a few of these games, especially those you couldn't pronounce, like Hawaii, Delaware State, some of those games. I know we're going to go to you to be the expert on those games, so we appreciate you.
Yeah, I haven't been Googling for the last 10 minutes to figure out who Montana State are. They are the Bobcats, for those that are wondering, and then New Mexico are the Lobos. So I've already learned more tonight than I have in a little while. So
hey, don't forget about the Hornets.
Sorry. The Hornets are later. They're going to be stinging.
Okay. Got it.
Well, you know what? It wouldn't be ITL if we didn't have Just Luke on and back in action with a new setup. Just Luke, I want to hear about your summer and your setup. What is up, my man?
Oh, what's up, guys? Man, it was so nice hearing the intro music to into the lab. Like, just hits so different now that we're back, man. Oh, it's just so good. Obviously, you can see Thor Puppy Wants to say hi to everybody. He is also back in the lab with us. I have to get him his little lab coat out so we can bring him onto the show. I'm sorry I couldn't afford it this go around, with royalties the way they are. But yeah, no, it was a good summer. I really appreciate you showing the Steelers preseason fight right before we started today, the giant pillow fight. Love that for us. Thank you. Appreciate the follow. But yeah, man, no, I just got into streaming, so that's a brand new avenue for me. I was a little nervous to start, but I kind of figured, what the hell? I do this every Thursday anyway, so I might as well just put my takes out whenever I want to stream anyways. So, hey.
I think it kind of beats looking into the mirror, right? I mean,
yeah,
just
pretty much. Yeah. Well, I mean, Thor just doesn't listen as well as I think he does anymore. You know what I mean? So it's just not the same. So some computer interaction probably wouldn't have hurt. You know what I mean?
Hang out with your virtual buddies. That's always a win for me, guys. Yeah. Season 6, episode 2, brought to you by BCMG, powered by BCMG. We appreciate all the sponsorships that we get from BCMG. We are the sports division. Hashtag what's in your DNA, the sport gene of BCMG. Tonight's episode is going to be about top 10 running backs, but before we get into that, we are going to talk some college football. But let's hit the news for round number 1, NFL news around the league. First off, the biggest news of the day, and I think Borak can agree, is probably the hottest topic. Jahan Dotson gets traded to the Eagles. Borak, does that move the needle for you for the Philadelphia Eagles?
I mean, it doesn't move the needle for me. It makes them a better wide receiver unit. I mean, Jahan Dotson as your third receiver doesn't hurt your receiver unit. I think the knock on him is that he's always been injured. He's injury prone. But it remains to be seen. Are they going to use him out as a slot? They don't run a lot of 3 wide receiver sets, so it's going to be interesting to see how they use him.
Yeah, very interesting. Philly goes after a wide receiver. Kellen Moore, trying to figure out where he fits in that Kellen Moore system. Where is he going to line up? Trying to see if they're going to move Devontae Smith to the slot and play him out left. For me, that's kind of the move. Don't you think, Borak and Kenny? I mean, we watched the Cowboys when they had somebody like Dotson playing them. That's probably the move, right? You move Smith down into the slot in that Kellen Moore offense.
You probably see both looks, I would think. Like, Kellen Moore does like to kind of move personnel around. I'm only confused because I read some stuff today that was talking about like Washington potentially just flat out releasing Dotson. Like, they weren't thrilled with what he was doing. So if you're giving up future draft capital to bring in a piece like this, like, maybe Philly's seeing something that Washington's personnel coaches aren't. Like, I don't know. It was just, that was the confusing part to me, because I thought that Dotson was almost a lock to make that roster, and then you hear reports coming out that he may not have been. So it certainly improves their wide receiver core, though. I mean, then you don't have John Ross and insert name here for wide receiver 3.
Right. And then, of course, everybody who drafted Terry McLaurin last weekend and aiming for him this weekend. Like,
give me a hell yeah!
That volume is just going to skyrocket for him. There it is. Yeah. The volume. Oh, you should have played the volume meter. That was a miss. All right, Kenny, we're going to you on this topic. That's right. CeeDee Lamb still doesn't have a contract. Are you worried?
I don't know. It's typical Dallas, isn't it? We're just, pardon my language, we're just fucking around this offseason for no reason at all. Like, we could just sign the top 5 receiver in football to an extension that he deserves, but instead Jerry's just, I don't know, being senile and wet in his diaper. So I don't know. This is frustrating. Just sign the guy. He's clearly deserves it. He's pretty much our offense at this point, considering we don't have running backs. So it's just puzzling.
Yeah. Kenny, for those looking at a live look in the front office.
As you can see, the more you fuck around, the more you're going to find out.
And we're maxed out. We're maxed out, for the record. We are 10 out of 10. Fucking around and finding out. So
we just signed 3 defensive tackles to make up for the loss of CeeDee Lamb this offseason, apparently. So figure we're gonna be playing more defense this year than anything. That's not the only wide receiver controversy, but it's the only one I care about. And I want to get predictions on the record here. Where do we think that contract lands? The latest we've heard, 33.5. is the mark. Do we think it's over or under? I'll go around the room. Just give me your predictions. 33.5, Borak.
Can I just make one comment? It's just an odd time for Jerry Jones to start being fiscally responsible all of a sudden. Like,
Thank you.
especially with the biggest impact player, arguably in your franchise. Like, I'm not saying he's Michael Irvin or anything, but he's almost to that point at a level of impact right now for this team. I don't know, dude. I want to say over, but what is Jerry doing? Like, it's really, really scary.
33.5 is the mark. Chris Borak says over. I'm going to go to Kenny. Kenny, you're on here.
I
Over
feel
under
like
33.5.
I feel like Jerry's gonna take the under because now he's decided that we should be splitting hairs over our whole offense. So I don't know. It's so stupid. This topic's just irritating me even to think about. It's so bad.
Like, just pay him.
Yeah,
I don't.
it's
understand.
not hard. Like, what's the price tag that you want? $35K. Done. Like, just move on.
Lamb and Parsons are like your no-brainers, right? Like, that's just you pay them in and you keep on moving. Don't think about it. And here we are. Just Luke, over under 33.5.
I'd gotta say over, but I'm looking at the top 10s. Do you want me to read off the top 10 right now?
Yeah.
Highest paid receivers.
Go ahead.
So number 10, we got DK Metcalf at 24 mil. Okay. He's better than DK, obviously.
Yeah,
Right?
keep going.
Obviously. Nico
Keep going.
Collins, 24.25.
Keep going up.
A steal.
Devontae Smith, 25.
Keep going up.
Yeah, keep going.
Cooper
Keep
Kupp. Cooper Kupp, 26.7 mil.
Keep going.
Devontae
going.
Adams, 28.
Keep going.
Keep going.
Jalen Waddle, 28.25.
Keep going.
Keep going.
Tyreek Hill, 30.
Keep going.
Yeah, well, I mean, talent-wise, they're there, but they're going to get more.
Remember, CD's only 25 too.
Yeah,
that's true.
Like, this is.
I'll help
This
you
is
out
like-
here. What number are we on? What number are we on, Luke?
This
We
is
are on-
pre-prime.
Now we're on number 3.
Okay, here we go. It's up there. Keep it going.
Amon-Ra St. Brown, 30,200,000.
Go
He's
up.
going to get more.
Yeah,
But I could hear the debate. I would listen to the debate. But I think CD's
it's close. But yeah, he would get a bit
Usage
more.
is about the same for Amon-Ra.
AJ Brown, 32 mil.
Higher.
So
I would
gotta be
say higher.
Yeah,
And we've got coming in at number 1,
Justin Jefferson.
Justin Jefferson at $35 million a year over the
So
next
he
4
should
years.
be just under that.
So
I
34.
agree.
Pay him 34 and let's go.
Yeah,
34.
exactly. 34 million, just get it done. But Lamb probably feels like he deserves more because Jefferson's been hurt at least and then got an extension.
So you're talking
I'm
Yeah,
just
you're
saying
right.
he's probably wanting that. I don't know if he deserves that, but
So, I mean, you're talking a 4-year deal that puts you at 29. That's $140 million. I mean, I don't understand how that's not a deal at this point. Over the next 4 years, the salary cap's going to jump tremendous over the next 3 to 4 years, and it already has. So I don't understand why this hasn't happened yet.
My prediction is it's over 33.5 million, just for the sheer fact that he is the offense and Micah Parsons is the defense. You sign those players. I think 34 is a no-brainer, but I also know that holdouts with key Dallas Cowboy players over the past decade and 2 decades has been synchronous. Ooh, I can't talk. Has just been like the main thing Dallas has done. And if you go back to even the latter part of Jason Witten's career, you go back to Des Bryant, you go back to the past Dak contracts, everything has led to the wire.
he's better than all of those guys.
Well, I guess my just argument is at this point, and it's nothing against Zach Martin at all. Like, he's a surefire Hall of Famer, but he complained for a week, right?
Yes.
I mean,
it was quick. It was quick.
I mean, it was Zach was like, I'm not playing you pay me. And then Jerry's like, fuck, we should probably pay the guy. And then lo and behold,
just
like a week
happened.
later, he gets the cap just magically opens up and Zach Martin gets paid. Like I really
But
don't.
this is why they needed to get to market months ago, because Jefferson recently got that extension.
Right.
If you get to market, you could have got him at 33, because then he would have been the highest paid receiver in football at the time. And when you know that this was going to be a big wide receiver offseason, you should have done it months ago. You could have got him at a discount. Now he's going to want 35 and a half. He'd take 35.1 just to say that he's the highest paid wide receiver. And that's where now we're splitting hairs of.
And Kenny and I 100% agree with you, because that term highest paid and insert whatever position is absolutely mute anymore.
Yeah.
And especially over the next.
It's
already been mute for like the last 3 years. But
all the topics talk about Dak with his contract, right? And now that's blown out of the water. It's like
right. Well, it all started with Kirk Cousins. We laughed at Minnesota when he literally signed that deal for all that guaranteed money, and we're like, what the fuck are they doing? Like, that's a terrible deal. But now you really look at it, you're like, well, that's kind of a discount. So that's actually not that bad.
Yeah, I get the hard stance on Dak. I just don't get Jerry taking this hard stance on CD. Like, I do think what Kenny said, like, I do think CD wants to be the highest paid player. And I think that's why he's holding out. I'm pretty sure the Cowboys have offered him probably in the 31 to 32 range. And he wants to be the highest paid wide receiver. And I think that's where the sticking point is.
Well, 33 and a half was the latest offer that was reportedly leaked out from the Cowboys front office.
Yeah, so he wants to be highest paid.
He has the leverage too with the season coming up. I mean,
he's going to be used. I mean, he's going to be used nonstop by the Cowboys. So we will see. With that being said, on this show, when it comes to CeeDee Lamb,
easy money.
All right, it's college football time, guys. You may not know it, but there is some college football happening. Week 0 is upon us, August 24th. We have a slew of games that we are excited for. It's just football, right? We're just excited for some football. But we start off this week, and our first BCMG parlay that we're going to talk about this week, maybe. Florida State, number 10 Florida State, 10.5-point favorites going up against Georgia Tech. Team has done their research. Florida, this game might be the easiest. And, of course, coming in like John Cena himself, Davis Cordova making his debut on ITL. Davis Cordova, what is going on, my man?
I don't think that's a debut, Ernest. That is not a debut, but debut for the last 3 years. So
We'll take it, Davis. We all missed you. A lot of returnees on here. We're about to talk college football, which is right up your alley. Catch Davis on some of the best networks around. We'll put his tag on at the end of tonight's show, so stick around. We have 60 people here, Davis. We have 60 people watching us talk college football and probably 3 games on teams they've never heard of. But let's start off with a familiar face that lost some names. Florida State, 10.5-point favorites, number 10 in the country against Georgia Tech to start off week 0. Start us off, Davis. Who do you have in this game?
I obviously have the Seminoles. I mean, they got DJ Uyunglele from Oregon State. He had a really good year at Oregon State. I don't know. I don't care what anyone says, what he did at Clemson. He's now like a 4-year starter now. So I think he will dominate the Georgia Tech defense. I haven't really heard anything from Georgia Tech, so I just know Florida State is really good this year again.
All right, booking Florida State in that first win around the room. Let's hear your answers, Chris Borak.
Yeah, I'm taking Florida State. I really like their offensive line. I just think that they are going to dominate in the trenches. I do think this is going to be a sloppy field with Hurricane Ernesto rolling through there. Shout out to Ernest. But they're talking about the wind being at 17 miles per hour, roughly, gust up to 35 miles per hour. So I just think Florida State's going to pound the rock. I don't even think DJ's going to need to sling it around against Georgia Tech. I just think they're going to run the football down their throat.
Shout out Hurricane Ernesto getting that hit out on ITL.
Out in Ireland.
Right, that's crazy. That's crazy. Kenny, who's your pick?
I didn't anticipate we'd be shouting out natural disasters on week 0.
We haven't talked about the DNC yet.
We haven't gotten to Delaware State yet.
If I was betting the game, I'd bet the under at 55.5, especially with what the weather's supposed to be doing. I get a little bit concerned because 71% of the bets right now are on Florida State, which is usually a really high number when you see a spread like that. I think a lot of people probably just bet it because they see Florida State and know what they did last year. But Florida State will win. I just don't know if they'll cover. So Florida State to win.
See, I take
Florida-
10.5 for Florida State because of Georgia Tech, not because of Florida State.
Yeah,
That's
fair.
why.
It's also once you mix in an international game, like those can just generally get ugly. And I wouldn't be shocked if like we're in a really close game in the 4th, but then Florida State just pulls away late. So 10.5 is just a gross number.
You may remember him from your captain days of watching our Twitch team, or our stream team that we had. Coach Peanut in the comments. Kenny always looks so
yeah.
I don't.
I think this is the most excited Kenny's looked in a long
I
time.
mean,
He
I
was
think you've been
energetic.
excited.
I mean, the shots fired and we're day 1. So
I
I
thought
know.
I thought I was delivering coming back, but I guess not.
I mean, I was about to say Kenny was off. Kenny was off all last year, and now this is what we got. We're already
Right.
taking
Kenny, how
shots
do you
at
take
them already.
How do you take a shot on day 1, Kenny? That happens so
It's like, how do you get fired on your day off, Kenny? Like,
Sorry, I wasn't thrilled for the natural disasters, guys. That's my
yeah,
bad.
yeah.
Super insensitive of me.
that asshole talked about that hurricane the wrong way.
Yeah.
Oh,
Florida State and the spread. I actually don't think it's going to be close at all. I think Florida State just kind of pushes the gas early. This Florida State team is going to be very talented on the offensive side of the ball. Georgia Tech, and so Florida State to me will start off hot, 21-0 going into halftime, and it'll be tough for Georgia Tech to keep up in the second half or make it a game. That's my prediction on this game. And we all know I'm the Florida State expert, so we might as well just move on from that. Yeah, no, I'm not at all. Who knows what's gonna happen in this game? But Hurricane Ernesto's making an appearance, so I'll be watching, and that's the only reason I'll be watching that game. We move on to our next game. Kenny loves that. Montana State, 11.5-point favorites against New Mexico. Who's the expert on this one? Let's go, Borak. Borak, what you got in this game?
I am not the expert on this one right here. Anybody can jump in to steal this. Davis, why don't you save me on this analysis?
All I know is when an FCS team is favored over an FBS team, you take the line. You take the FCS team to cover because that means the FBS team is just really bad.
Line is moving quite a bit in that favor too because it's up to 13.5 now. So a lot of people like the under as well. If you're looking at public money, people think that this game will go under 54.5.
I watched some sites even push up to 18, saying that they were locks in, and that was some of the favorites in Vegas. So I'm going to say this is really leaning Montana State. For those who are unknown, and this team's like most people, if you're just that avid that you're going to put a parlay together, or you want to watch this game and you want to have money on it, the Montana State team seems to be overwhelmingly favorite. So I would lean that way and take the spread at 11.5. You can find it on one of our main sponsors of ITL this year, Bovada. Go check out Bovada. Use code ITL today. Get yourself a kickback up to 150%. Code ITL today. Bovada. Go check it out. All right. 11.5 is where you can find it on Bovada. So I'm taking Montana State 11.5. It seems like Davis is as well. Borak, I'm going to go back to you on this one. What's your pick?
Yeah, Montana State. You guys sold me.
All right, 3 Montana State picks there. Just Luke.
Yeah, no. The Lobos have won 10 games the last 5 years. So I think we're just gonna move on to Montana State.
wait, Luke, that's not 10 wins a year. That's 10 wins in
not in the Big Sky.
Years?
Not in the Big Sky. Yeah, not in the Big Sky
I
conference.
thought that they just ran the Big Sky. That's my bad.
Yeah, I thought they did too. But apparently, I know on NCAA, I always schedule them first. I know that. So.
They'll mess around and win more college basketball games. That's more up there.
Yeah, you're right. Bust my bracket a little bit more. Thanks for bringing that up, Kenny. I needed that today.
Well, I'm supposed to be the negative guy. So.
Kenny, wrap us up on this one. Who you got?
The under. I don't want anything to do with this game. I'm not betting it.
Valid.
I'll just
Valid.
monitor it. So.
I'm going to plug the under there on your pick. I'm just to have it there. But
Okay.
for the rest of the people following, here's our first return to this marquee statement.
No. No. No.
No, don't advertise that.
And if you have any issues getting paid out your money, Steve, the General Reisner, is who you want to hit up on Twitter. He'll pay you out on your bet. That guarantee doesn't come to fruition. Let's move on to our next game. That is SMU 24.5-point favorites Saturday evening against Nevada in Nevada. Kenny, start us off on this one.
Yeah. 71% of the money on Nevada spread here. They like that they're at home and think that they can cover 3.5 touchdowns. I don't know anything about these. What?
I don't know. There was an echo.
I don't know where the echo
Okay.
came from.
Yeah, I'm not betting it, so I'm not giving a pick.
All right.
I'll
so
jump-
you're not
I'll jump
giving
in
a
here.
pick? Thank you, Davis.
I'll save you, Kenny. I've only had to watch Nevada a few times because OSU had a quarterback that transferred there. It's terrible. Nevada is probably bottom 5 FBS team. So take SMU. That's all I'm going to say. Like, all 4 games this weekend, you should be taking a favorite to cover.
There you go. SMU, the pick for Davis. And if you don't know, Davis has been doing the last 3 years of his life, it's been covering college football. So that's why he's here. That's why he's all about this game. So SMU is a pick from Davis. Just Luke, you want to give a stab at it?
Nobody wins. We go for the tie.
That's it. That's the kind of analysis I'm looking for here. A
I
tie
mean, I
game.
kind of figured if we're playing the tie card, I'm playing the tie card right now. In a
What are
game that
those
you can't
odds?
possibly tie.
Plus 10,000 probably.
In a game that you can't possibly tie.
Well, no,
Playing-
you can tie because you're going to be watching for Hurricane Ernesto. And
Yeah,
then
you're right. They'll just cancel it.
Poison
You're right.
through, and suddenly they're going to have to abandon.
I'm
the
winning
game.
that game no matter what.
Shout out
Shout out the natural disaster.
Hurricane Ernesto.
Absolutely. I might name all my fantasy football teams that name this year.
So this is where ITL is heading this year. All right.
It is. It is.
All right.
SMU by a landslide going there. That's my pick. Borak, wrap us up on this one.
That's my pick too. I think SMU is going to run away with this one. Preston Stone is back at starting QB. Got hurt last year. I'm interested to see how he does in this offense, but that's my pick.
SMU back? Question mark?
That's it. That's what we're here for.
I'm trying here, Luke. I mean, we're talking week 0
They're back?
college football.
Question mark?
If you thought this was tough so far, we're just getting
Preston
started.
Stone.
Didn't mean to cut you off, Borak. Again, it's week
No,
0.5.
Preston Stone is back.
Preston Stone is back. That's right. That's right. Snoozer of the week is next, though. Hawaii, 40.5-point favorites.
How is this a snoozer, Ernest? I mean, who would
Against
who
Delaware
would want a
State.
game at midnight on the East Coast? I mean,
This
come
is the
on.
degenerate special right here.
Absolutely.
This is everything. Why am I excited for this game? I don't know
Isn't
why.
it at
but
midnight? It's at midnight too,
It's
right?
at midnight, yeah.
this is my second
Degenerate
favorite
special.
behind Hurricane Ernesto game of the week. I don't know what I like more. But Davis, talk to us about this Hawaii 40.5-point favorite.
I mean, the line was like 37.5 before Delaware State missed their 10-hour flight the other day. And so
Yes.
now
Oh,
it's
man.
up to 40.5. Thankfully, I got in at 38.5. So, I mean, I don't think 2 points are a difference. Still take Hawaii because I couldn't tell you why. That's just why.
It's just going to be demolishing. Now the over-under is only 56, and we were talking about this before the show and talking about how attractive that might be because the weather is going to be pretty stupendous. It's 80-degree weather, light breeze before that. I think it's, what is it, a hurricane coming?
Beautiful.
a different tropical
Beautiful
storm.
Hawaii.
Shout
It's
out to
beautiful
the
right
news storm.
No, it doesn't have a name, so we're not going to talk about it on this show. First off,
ITL
Second
question
off-
mark?
Hurricane
Yeah.
ITL.
No.
Okay, Hurricane ITL might be hit in Hawaii. Second, still my second favorite game of the week. I'm taking Hawaii, and the points. I'm also taking the over on the point total. I think they score above 56. I think this ends up being like. I think Hawaii might score 56 by themselves. Right? Does Delaware
Well, I
Stadium?
mean, West Virginia dropped a 70 piece on them like 3 years ago, and
I mean,
that wasn't a good sign for them. You know what I mean? Like, the Rainbow Warriors can put up 40 and a half.
there you go. There you go.
But
We got
Ernest,
two.
I
Hawaii
mean,
picks in there.
if we're gonna go by like pure ticket price, this is not even close to being snoozer of the week. Okay.
I know. They're selling as low as 14 for this game. 12 was
Right.
the SMU Nevada game. I got it.
Right.
Have
We
you seen
have-
the SMU game for next week?
So the lowest ticket price for $2 goes to Southern Louisiana versus Tulane at $2. I mean, come on.
That's a
Why
win right there.
not?
That sounds like a BCMG
I mean,
meetup
that's
game
a
right
dub.
there.
That's a dub.
Hey, Luke, the SMU game next week, they host Houston Baptist or Houston Christian. They're $1 a piece.
Ooh.
Like an actual
That's a-
dollar.
Now, see,
Just
that's a
$1.
real McDonald's All-American
What
game
what's
right
the spread on that game?
But
I don't
but
want to
you
know.
But you know what the
Oh my
sad thing
God.
is, Davis? If you go to Ticketmaster, the fucking fees just for the ticket is going to cost more than the ticket.
there. Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah.
Exactly.
It really is. It really is. Well, guys, we have our first parlay of the year, and the fun parlay is going to be Florida State 10 and a
No, we
half.
don't. No, we don't.
Montana
We
State 11 and a half.
actually don't have a parlay here.
SMU. What is that spread?
Oh, we
Anybody
took
have
all
that?
the favorite. That's a real
We
barn
did.
burner.
Hawaii 40 and a half. That's gonna be a-
Yeah. What's the worst that could happen taking all favorites on week 0? We're gonna get Georgia Tech outright. Hawaii's gonna win by 10. Like,
Can't wait to win $1 off a $100 bet. Can't wait.
also,
Real hot.
what you actually call that Hawaii game is the recoup your losses game.
Yeah.
You've had a couple drinks at the bar because you're super choked that Georgia Tech just ruined Florida State's season, and you go, well, we're getting it all back on Hawaii, and then you pass out and wake up to
40
no
and a
money in
half.
your sportsbook account. That's what week 0
And he's
is.
Right?
I'm not speaking from experience. I've never done that, right?
Right. We know
Right.
those West Coast Lakers games. This is where I recruit. Go LeBron.
Well, that's where you
So
know
we-
I'm drunk because I said go LeBron.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. All right, guys. That is our college football take. You'll see what that parlay gets you later on in tonight's show if you stick around. All 71 of y'all haven't left yet. And I appreciate the hell out of all of you. We are going to talk top 10 running backs. My list absolutely does not look like anybody's. I have some major hot takes in my list. So
Oh, nice.
you already know, for all of you Joe Mixon fans, it's coming. It's coming. That freight train is coming. While you're here, though, check out some of the great streamers we still have around, like Coach Peanut, like Mama Bear 1920. Some of those great streamers that we had from before are still going. COVID did not stop them. Check them out today on Twitch, Facebook, or YouTube. I think the new big thing is Kick, right? That seems to be one of the newest ones. Check them out on all those. And of course, let's not forget, Just Luke is now streaming. Go check him out. Just Luke, what is your handle? Where can people find you?
Same thing. It's going to be King of Hearts 82 here in 12 days when I can change the name back because I couldn't. I've had multiple name changes already, so
let's go.
Nailed this one down. So it'll be the same thing for my Twitter, same thing for Twitch, same thing for TikTok. So we're all good.
Hey, congratulations to you. Look, I saw you get your first follower too, and I saw that video.
Thanks,
that was a really
man.
wholesome video.
I was
that.
a little excited, and then instantly crashed.
That's okay. That's okay. That's all about it. Check out this commercial. We're gonna come back with top 10 running backs.
chill, going down the hill. Gonna go fetch Jack in his little pill. Jack feeling down, and that's pretty bad. Let's go.
Oh, yo, clip that. Clip that headshot.
No!
A pistol. What? Okay, that didn't count.
Woo, let's go, baby, clutch it up. Yeah, I like it.
What? No way. Did that precision just kill me?
Let's go!
Nice, Papa!
Papa with the clutch kill at the end. Let's go.
Oh, I missed. That was bad.
Got him.
Nice.
Man, I'm going to go steal their shit.
That is definitely green.
You're dumb and it's orange.
We're both wrong, red.
I could get that solo if I tried it a couple times, but we'll come back to it.
I'm fucking dick right now. Holy shit. Like, I fucking suck right now.
Yeah, I can tell.
Most of those streamers still live today. Go check them out. Go check out Coach Peanut. Go check out Just Luke, King of Hearts 82. Go get some follows over there. I got to follow you, Luke. I got to become part of that group. Round 2, top 10 fantasy running backs. We're going to talk this out. 1 point PPR. For those following along, we did quarterbacks last week, and that was a huge debate going back and forth. But today, top 10 running backs. I'm going to give my top 10. People are going to react to them and then give us their top 10. We're going to go down the list, number 10 to number 1. We'll go around the room. Let's start us off. Number 10 on my list to start things off, Travis Etienne Jr. for the Jaguars, made number 10 on my list. I do like what he's bringing to the table. He is an RB1 for me in Jacksonville. I think that's a no-brainer. He is lower on my list than most people's, in my opinion, but I am not as high on touchdowns for him this year. I'm not as high on the Jaguars offense, so I have him lower on the top 10 list than most. Chris Borak, who's 10 on your list?
10 on my list is Devon A-Chain. 22 years old, had the highest points per game fantasy last year. Downside is he is a high injury risk. We all know that. And Raheem Mostert is still stealing carries. But to me, he still has a ton of upside. We all remember the 50-point week that he had. And he's just very explosive. So even with him sharing the backfield with Raheem Mostert, I do think he will put up enough points with his catching ability to be in the top 10 this year.
A-Chain coming in for Borak. Number 10, Kenny.
Derrick Henry. I still think run first offense in Baltimore. He was still top 10 in points per game last year. Pretty much his backfield with other running backs moving on. I mean, for a running back that people keep saying, like, is he going to hold up? Like, I just think that he went to the perfect situation. So I'd be happy to have him on my team. So he's my number 10.
Henry comes in at 10 for Kenny. Just Luke.
I have Jonathan Taylor at 10. I think with Anthony Richardson, that if he does, that's the bigger question. If he does stay healthy throughout the whole year, and so does JT, the AFC South is not the best. JT didn't have a lot to work with to begin with, but now you throw in a true mobile running quarterback. I think it helps him out. And obviously you could see what he did before the injury. So I think he could absolutely bounce back and be a top 10 this year.
There you go. Jonathan Taylor gets top 10. There's Davis. Round us up. 10 on your list.
I think it's a hot take, but until they get more weapons, I still think he's going to produce. I have Alvin Kamara at number 10. Beyond Chris Olave, they don't have many options on the outside. And, they're still going to need to throw the ball. So I think he's their second option when it comes to passing. And there's no clear threat for running back there behind him. So I think he's still going to be productive. He's one of the best receiving running backs. So I still think he's going to produce a lot of points this year.
I think Kamara in the top 10 is a hot take. I like it. I like it, and I can see it definitely because they don't have anybody else, right? And if Olave has any sort of injury history and goes back down, right, it's all Kamara again. So I could definitely see a path where that happens. Number 9 on my official ITL list, Jahmyr Gibbs. I think Jahmyr Gibbs is not as high as people should put him up there. I don't think the touchdowns will be there for him. This was neck and neck for me between him and Etienne, to be honest, because I don't think the touchdown production is going to be there for him. I think those are David Montgomery vultures, and I think when it comes to the Lions this year, there's going to be a lot of passing touchdowns this year. I have Gibbs at 9. I'm going to go around the room the opposite way. Davis.
I mean, I got Devon A-Chain. I like his production, and I mean, he's going to get a lot of carries from that backfield. But my only concern with him is still kind of that sharing with Mostert. So it'll be interesting to see how much production he gets with Mostert still back there.
Absolutely. Just Luke.
So we're on 9, right?
9.
Right. I have A-Chain / Mostert. Either one of these guys.
Oh, come on.
That is the truth.
I got most chain out of Miami.
The truth. One guy's going to play 50% of the other guys. Yes, Devon Mostert.
Do you start them together too?
Yes, absolutely. There was a guy in our league last year that had only Miami Dolphins players. The entire team was Miami Dolphins players. Okay, so but in all realness, like A-Chain, if he didn't get hurt, that changes a lot of things for the Miami Dolphins. And Mike McDaniel, I don't know what South Beach is doing to him, but he's gone completely feral down in South Beach. You know what I mean? Like, so this combination is absolutely going to be top 10, no doubt.
A-Chain getting double 9s here. Kenny.
I have Isaiah Pacheco at number 9. I love the offense. I mean, anytime you're in a Mahomes offense, it's obviously going to be really good for you. He was 15th in points per game last year. He upped his production by 80 points from his rookie year. I think he's just going to get more familiar with the system. I think that Andy Reid, especially with the way that he calls plays, where you're going to see plenty of touchdowns out of him. And also late in the year last year, 3 out of his last 4 weeks, he had 18 plus. So I think he's just getting better as he goes. And I'd be happy to have him at number 9.
There you go. Borak, round us up.
So this is where I have Saquon at. I still have a lot of questions about, is he going to be the only guy they use? So I'm questioning his usage. They're still talking that they're going to use Kenneth Gainwell out of the backfield, catching passes. And I think that's going to be to detriment for Saquon, because if he doesn't get that receiving and those receptions, I think that's going to limit his upside, because we all know Hurts is going to steal red zone touchdowns from him. So if he's not in the 50 to 55 reception range, I think it really hurts his chances getting into the top 10 with the talent that's out there. So, but this is where I have Saquon. I just question how much usage they're going to use him and how much they're going to lean on him, because I do think they want to protect him to keep him fresh for the playoffs.
2 questions to the group. 1, do we think the tush push lives without Kelsey? Like, is that still going to be a thing for Philly? Yeah. I think that's still going to be like a...
I think so.
Periodically just won't be as dominant as it was.
Okay.
I mean, you lose Kelsey at the front, but you add the biggest thighs at the running back position in Saquon. So, I mean, you're adding more strength in the back than in the front.
So might as well just play Wildcat at that point. I'm just kidding.
Just jump in the
front. Let Saquon take it.
All right, number 8 for me. Not a hot take for most people that watch this show. Joe Mixon with the Texans. I think Joe crosses the 1,000 mark, gets over 10 touchdowns this year, at least on the ground. I'm going to have him be a stellar addition to this Houston Texans team. I'm all about Joe Mixon at number 8. A lot of you can clap your hands. Leave those fires in the comments for me there. Appreciate all y'all. Borak's happy with it. Borak, who's 8 for you?
This may be a hot take. I have James Cook. So I really think with the departure of Stephon Diggs leaving, I really think they're going to utilize him a lot out of the backfield. He showed his ability to catch the ball and produce last year, and they showed the willingness to lean on him. And I don't think they have the wide receiving core that a lot of the media is talking about. I'm not sold on Keon Coleman. I'm not sold on Curtis Samuel. I just think that they're going to lean on Dalton Kincaid and James Cooks. I understand that, Josh Allen is still going to be a potent runner, but I do think James Cook is going to get a lot of work, and I think his receiving ability is going to put him up there and finishing at 8.
James Cook getting a nod from Chris Borak on his top 10 list, where we're breaking down top 10 running backs here on ITL. Kenny, who do you have at number 8?
I have the best first name in the NFL, Kenneth Walker, in at number 8. I'm a big fan of what he does for that Seattle offense. I think the fact that they have the 1-2 punch in the wide receiver position keeps things open for him. I'm not too worried about a handcuff situation here. Like, truthfully, I thought about Mixon here, but the fact that they still have Dameon Pierce, I think that he's still going to play a part in that offense. So it may not be a major part, but that's taking away from Mixon ultimately. That is a running back that was productive last year. I don't see that for Seattle, and so I got Kenneth Walker there.
Thank you for the mix and love. I appreciate that. Those in the comments, go ahead and leave a heart there for Kenny. Just Luke.
I have another James, but it's James Conner in Arizona. I think if Kyler stays healthy, I hate that all of my takes start with if they stay healthy, because that's literally just brain
That's with
rot
everybody.
happening. But
yeah,
James Conner gets those hard yards, right? If Kyler Murray stays healthy, he has the legs, he has a scramble. When Kyler Murray is actually healthy, we've seen in the past flashes of a top 15 quarterback with him in fantasy points, right? So if he could be even half of that, and then James Conner, I mean, why not? I don't see why he wouldn't at least eclipse 1,000 yards this year, at least.
What team did James Conner play on before the Cardinals? I forget.
Oh, yeah, the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Oh, that's right. Oh, okay,
the America's football team. That one.
Oh, my gosh. Davis, wrap us up on number 8.
Number 8, I got to go with Jonathan Taylor. I really do like his production in Indianapolis. I mean, again, there's not really a competition behind him. I like the threat of him out of the backfield as a receiving back. So I think 8's a good number for him.
Okay, we have gone through our first 3 on the bottom of the top 10 order. For top 10 running backs here on ITL, we're going number 7. Number 7 on top 10 running backs here on ITL. Sponsored by Taquito Express. That's right, Taquito Express. Use code ITL at checkout. Get 10% off your all-you-can-eat tacos. That could be $9.99 in your belly, and it's delicious. Some of us on this screen have eaten those tacos, and we can vouch. It is delicious. The ITL number to beat is 42 tacos. The number to beat at Taquito Express confirmed this past weekend, 103 tacos, which is absolutely bonkers. Absolutely bonkers. Just to save $10. Just go enjoy the food. Don't kill yourself to save $10. Number 7 on ITL's official top 10 list. On my list, Saquon Barkley comes in for the Eagles. I'm just like Chris Borak. I am down on Barkley. I don't know if that translation is going to work for the Eagles, and I am secretly thinking he's a covert spy for the Giants at this point. He could just be going in there to bomb it and just trip on every single play. So Barkley comes in at 7. I'm not going to give any more analysis. We've talked enough on him. Davis, who's your number 7?
Number 7, I got Pacheco. As Kenny said, I really do like any running back in a Patrick Mahomes offense. Yeah. So I mean, you gotta put him there. And I mean, I hate to piggyback off what Kenny said, but he's learning the offense. This is his 3rd year in the offense, and 2nd year is kind of the lead back. So I think it's only up from here for Pacheco.
Pacheco gets a nod, number 7 on Davis's list. Just Luke.
Yeah, this is actually, you had the same idea, Ernest. This is where I have Saquon right now.
Okay.
This has, he's better than Shady McCoy, but like, this has that kind of a feeling to it. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know if they're just going to use him right. I really don't like Nick Sirianni, to be honest with you. The offensive line is not, I mean, it's better than the Giants. Let's be honest. It's definitely better than the Giants, so he's definitely going to be happier about that. But I don't know how much happier he's really going to be about it at this point. He's already had enough injuries. His usage is going to be definitely a lot less. But efficiency-wise, I don't see him getting the ball on the goal line. You know, I think they'll keep it with Gainwell, and and they'll pound the rock that way. So he's really going to be used in the screen game and short yardage, that weird third and 6, 2nd and 7 kind of area, out of the backfield wheel routes and stuff like that. I really think his catches might be an all-time high this year, but his rushes might not be.
Okay. Number 7, Saquon Barkley. Just Luke. I actually like it a lot. Again, I'm not sure the fit yet. I have to see what Kellen Moore does with him. Kenny, what do you like at 7?
I got Jonathan Taylor at 7. You can kind of just insert what other guys have talked about with Jonathan Taylor, because I feel like we've had enough discussion about him.
Oh, yeah, for sure. We shouldn't waste any time on a Colt. Chris Borek.
I have Pacheco also. I mean, everybody's already hit on the points. I think in year 3, they really trust him. He's really excelled in his pass blocking. He's gotten a lot better in pass blocking, which has given him the ability to stay on the field more. And CEH is just done. Like they're just they're done with him. And Jerick McKinnon is kind of running on fumes at this point. So Pacheco is the workhorse, and in that offense, I think he's going to have a big year.
And CEH is Clyde Edwards-Helaire, not some drug for those who are following along and might not understand what that meant. But we continue on. Number 6 on our list for me, Jonathan Taylor with the Colts. I'm not going to repeat much here. I do think he has the yards this year, just not the touchdowns, but will be in that number 6 category. Borek, stay hot on the mic. What do you have at 6 on your list?
So at 6, I have Kyron Williams. I think this guy is one of the most underrated fantasy football running backs in the league right now. They are going to lean on him heavily. He's shown the ability to catch passes out of the backfield. I anticipate him getting about 40 to 50 receptions out of the backfield this year, which is going to be pushing him up the ranks in PPR. I think with the healthy Stafford back and Cooper Kupp and Puka, you're not going to be able to stack the box against him. So the health is the only concern that I have with him and staying on the field. But they've shown the willingness to turn over the reins to him when they let Cam Akers go. And he is the guy. So I really like this offense. I really like his role. And I think he's going to get a ton of work this year.
I love that take. I'm really high on Kyron Williams myself as well. He'll appear on my list in a little bit. Spoilers. Kenny.
So number 6 is Jahmyr Gibbs. What is this myth that he doesn't get into the end zone when he had 11 touchdowns last year? Like, I know that
this year.
But Demon, yes, he scores touchdowns for them, but he's still going to be the pass catching back here. He had like 50 plus receptions last year. He's going to be a major part of what they want to do there. Also, the fact that I think people like Laporta, his touchdown numbers are going to come down. And the Lions are just such a lethal offense that I think that there's just plenty of scores to go around. And so I'm not too worried about his usage. I think Demon's basically their goal line back at this point, and he's going to be on the field a lot. And his numbers just went up as the season went on. So give me Gibbs at 6.
Gibbs at 6. Kenny likes the touchdown ratio to yardage. I'm with you, Kenny. I hope he has a good year. I think I have some Gibbs stock in some places. Just Luke.
So is it my turn to talk about Pacheco? Is that how it goes?
Yeah. So do you like that he's in a Patrick Mahomes offense?
I do like that he is in a Patrick Mahomes offense.
Do you like that he's gotten better every year?
He has gotten better every year. He doesn't miss. There's two big things I like in a running back.
No competition.
No competition.
Okay, so three, right? So three. So there's three things, right? No competition. He doesn't miss football games, and he doesn't fumble the football. Those are three huge things, and he's underpaid. So that's a win-win-win. All right.
I like it.
Isaiah Pacheco, somebody we haven't really talked about tonight. Davis, you're number 6.
Number 6, I got James Cook. I like James Cook. I wasn't really high on him, but the way he changed the way the offense changed once Joe Brady took over as OC. Joe Brady loves running the ball. I believe, don't quote me on this, I believe the Bills were like second in the league after Joe Brady took over in rushes. So I think James Cook is going to take off in this offense. It's a really run-heavy offense that's centered around Josh and Cook to kind of lead the way.
I like the take. I don't think it's crazy. Borak had him up. What'd you have, Borak, at 8, I think, right? And then now we're seeing him at 6 years. I did like what
I had him at 8. I thought that was high, but I agree with what David said.
Yeah, I think Cook is rising on a lot of boards. Let's transition. We go top 5 running backs right after this. Number 5 on my list, somebody we haven't talked about tonight. I think Cook is going to be great in Buffalo, and I don't know if anybody has him on their list, but that's going to be all. No, I'm seeing some head shakes. Yeah, James Cook at 5 for me. I think the yards and touchdowns are going to be. I think the usage is going to be there. Very Kamara-like in Buffalo. I am also down in the receiver core. I don't buy the hype. So James Cook is 5 on my list. I know it's a surprise to most of y'all who didn't have him on your list. Davis, do you have a 5?
I got King Henry. King Henry at 5. He's going to have the best offensive line that he's had. I know he's 30 and he's had a few injuries, but he's like, I don't think he's human is the thing. He just runs like a horse. And he stays healthy pretty much, except last year. But I think he's going to have a great chance to score touchdowns as the lead back in Baltimore.
There you go. Derrick Henry at 5. Oh, he's not a Titan. He's a Raven, isn't he? Yep, he's a Raven. Absolutely. So let's take that Titans mark off the board. We'll make that an error for the night. All right. Just Luke, who do you have? 5.
This is where I have Derrick Henry. So obviously this is my division. I called it last year before we went off the air that he was bound to be in purple and black by the end of next year. Obviously that has come to pass. So chalk that up, ITL dub. All right. So a few things. Offensive line is obviously tremendously better, right? Quarterback play, obviously tremendously better in Tennessee. His usage, I'd say 10, 15 carries a game would probably be his area. I don't think they want to use him more than that, and I don't think they want to use him less than that. Because Lamar is going to use his leg, right? And as much as we don't want to talk about Gus Edwards has filled in fantastically over the last few years with J.K. Dobbins going down and the slew of running back injuries for the Ravens over the last few years, which might turn a lot of people off to King Henry with the bug of being a Baltimore Raven running back over the last few years. But don't be scared. He's going to be just fine in that offense, I promise.
You know Gus Edwards is a Charger, right?
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Okay, I was making sure.
Yeah.
So is JK.
Yeah, so is JK.
Yeah, that doesn't surprise me. But he will be the focal point. And they've desperately missed just being able to turn around, hand the ball off, and not worry about it. And he's getting 3 yards. He's getting 3 yards. No matter what it looks like, how ugly it is, the man is getting 3 to 3.5 yards a carry. Like, that's the way it is. And when you're in Cleveland, Pittsburgh, and Baltimore in negative 10-degree weather, that's the last man I want to see coming across the line, is that man.
Yeah, besides Ezekiel Elliott, I agree. Kenny.
I don't even want to give my take after you just threw Zeke in there. That fat fuck. Saquon at 5. I don't know. We kind of talked about him too. I hate Nick Sirianni. I think he's the biggest POS in the league. At least he knows how to run the football. Saquon missed 2 games last year and was still running back 12 for the year. The year prior, he was running back 5. If he's healthy, I expect him to be around 4 or 5 this year. Like, I'm not too worried about the goal line stuff. I don't think that the push will be used as much, and he'll run in plenty.
I have similar feelings on that. Borak, who do you have at 5?
This is where I have Jonathan Taylor. I think everybody hit on the points. I think a healthy Anthony Richardson, as we know, a running quarterback is going to open up those running lanes, and I think the Colts do still have a great offensive line. And I think people have forgotten how explosive Jonathan Taylor was when he was healthy, just because it's been so long. And he's finally healthy, so hopefully he can stay that way. So this is where I put Jonathan Taylor.
They forgot even in the auction draft league, you got him for $100 flat because nobody challenged you on it. Like, that was the most wild take of last year.
I mean, the thing is on him is he's got to stay healthy. I mean, we could say that about every one of these running backs, but he is injury prone. So that is the only knock against Jonathan Taylor.
Completely agree. 90 of you have stayed on. You're going to keep watching us. Appreciate all the love on Twitter. I see a lot of y'all on that live huddle, so appreciate y'all on there. Let's go to number 4, top 4 here for us on ITL. For my list, Kyren Williams comes in here. I agree with a lot of the takes. I'm not going to rehash it, but you cannot stack the box because you have to cover all these talented wideouts, and they just got richer in the offseason by their drafts and by their draft picks and the continued progress of the receivers they have in Cooper Kupp. Like, you're just a healthy Kupp, and everybody else's development is going to be great. Puka Nacua is also a fantastic receiver. So what they do at tight end is a question, but Kyren Williams to me is who you're right there. I think the touchdowns will be there. I think the yards will be there. So Kyren at 4. Borak, who do you have at 4?
So this is where I have Jahmyr Gibbs. I'm with Kenny. I don't know where all the touchdown hate came from. I get that David Montgomery gets all the goal line work, but Jahmyr Gibbs is the more explosive player. And he's going to steal all the receptions, as we know, as Kenny touched on. So I just think with him, same thing. The soft tissue injuries scare me. Got to keep those hammies healthy. But as long as he does, I mean, he has RB1 explosiveness, and the way they utilize him, that I like where he's at in this offense.
All right, Jahmyr Gibbs gets some love. Kenny, number 4.
Bijan Robinson comes in at number 4 for me. I had him in my top 2 or 3 until today when I'm reading a lot of stuff about Algier still playing a role in that offense. And it's a little bit concerning just because we know Bijan, a lot of it had to do with Arthur Smith, but he struggled in the red zone last year. And so I question whether the touchdowns will be there for him to be a top 3 running back in fantasy. I would still draft him easily in the first round if he falls to me, but that new offense with the new coach, all the weapons that are added, I do think it'll free up a bit more space, like especially not having Ritter under center because they could stack the box pretty well in the red zone when he was back there. So I still think he's a great running back, but I have him at number 4.
Bijan finally getting on the board at 4 for Kenny. Just Luke.
Breece Hall at 4.
Ooh.
I know, Borak. I understand, but I'm using the I love a running back in the Aaron Rodgers offense question mark. The kid's explosive, man. He is. Even how bad the offense has been without Aaron Rodgers, the kid's still got numbers, and it can only get better with one of the best quarterbacks to ever play the game if he stays healthy. Right there, again, my famous line, if he stays healthy. And I pray to God that the NFL gods give us a season of a healthy Aaron Rodgers. But they were like, hey, let's start Monday night at San Francisco with the Jets. Like, why not? But I'm going Breece Hall at 4.
Perfect. Breece Hall at 4. Davis going to wrap us up on the 4 count here.
This is where I got Saquon. I think I'm going to explain why I don't have Jahmyr Gibbs on my list instead of explaining why I have Saquon on board.
Yeah, I want to hear this.
Just because I think David Montgomery, kind of like you're concerned about Algier being too much involved in the Atlanta offense. I think Gibbs is still going to be – I think he finished 10 last year. I think he's still going to have the same production, and I'm worried about his injuries. So that's why I don't have Gibbs in my top 10. I think there's a clear 1, 2, 3 drop-off rest of the squad, and I think Saquon's at the top of that.
There you go. Davis saying Saquon rounds up top 4, and we are going to go to top 3 now. Top 3. Number 3 on the ITL list here for my list, Bijan Robinson comes in for the Falcons. I think he does take that sophomore step forward. I don't think it's going to slump out. I think he's going to be progressive, stay healthy on the field, and continue to be the focal point of the offense. I think Kirk Cousins knows how to utilize and check down and call into and audible into the run more than what we'll see from last year from Ritter. So I expect Kirk Cousins' professional football to help him in the beginning, and if there's any transition, they'll focus on him in the latter part of the season from quarterback. So I like Bijan in Atlanta, not only because he's a Longhorn, but also because I think he's actually going to be productive in Atlanta. I think he is the offense there. So 3 for Bijan there. Davis, you come in at 3.
I mean, you can keep that graphic up. I got Bijan at 3 too.
Perfect.
Just kind of mimicking what you said. I don't have really a concern for Algier because I think Bijan with a competent quarterback will be a top 3 running back easily in fantasy.
There you go. Bijan getting double nods here. Just Luke.
This is where I have Gibbs. I'm not going to beat a dead horse. This is where I have Gibbs.
Okay.
Gibbs number 3 for Luke here. Kenny.
This is Kyron Williams for me. Yeah, we've talked a lot about him.
I like that.
I just think he's phenomenal. I'm not even worried about the fact they drafted Corum. I just think that he's the guy, and I actually think Rams are a sneaky dark horse to make a super big run this year. I think he'll be a big part of that. It helps when you've got Nakua and Kupp. Like everyone talks about Stafford, that helps a ton having 2 big weapons to open things up in the run game, and I just think that he's in the perfect situation. So give me Kyron.
I love that. Chris Borak.
This is where I got Bijan. I think you guys covered it well.
You mean the Bijan Robinson in Atlanta? Yeah, I appreciate that.
Honey Bee.
Yeah, the coaching staff is saying all the right things. They're like, hey, we want to use them like Christian McCaffrey, blah, blah, blah. But they're still utilizing Tyler Algier a lot.
Yeah. But I'm just like Davis on that front. I don't have a lot of worry about that. I think it's Bijan, that 2U run there. Call some plays for Algier, and then you just call it a day, right? The mix up. Luckily, Patterson's gone. Pittsburgh can worry about that. All right, so we're in top 2 territory here. Number 2 on my list, Breece Hall. Breece Hall for the Jets makes top 2 for me. I like Breece Hall. I love him if Aaron Rodgers stays healthy. Another if he stays healthy comment, not the running back themselves, but Aaron Rodgers this time, because his stats are just going to go through the roof. Hall was obviously talented last year. Borak, who do you have in this spot?
So I should probably explain why I put him here. This is where I have Christian McCaffrey.
Oh, I knew it. I knew it was gonna happen.
And the only reason I'm doing this is because of the analytics play. So for the last 2 years, Christian McCaffrey's been the top 2 running back in fantasy PPR. There has never, ever been a running back that's finished top 2 in PPR scoring 3 years in a row. So if CMC does it, he is the GOAT of fantasy running backs. So I'm betting that he is not going to be number 1 this year, even though I have nothing negative to say about his workload. This is strictly just an analytics play.
So analytically, CMC will not finish top for Borak's list, and he comes in at 2. Kenny.
I have Christian McCaffrey at number 2.
Back to back on CMC not finishing 1.
No. But I think you can justify it based off of this offseason that they've had, where it looks like Ayuk is probably not going to be in a 49er uniform by the time the season starts. And even if he does, it's caused some major issues for them. They're also coming off going to the Super Bowl again and losing. Like, I think that there's just something to be said that the 49ers might have some doubt over the fact that maybe they can't get over the hump. And let's face it, CMC, he had that major touchdown streak last year. And I just don't know if that's sustainable once again, like to kind of go to Borak's point about, like, can he finish top 2 in fantasy again? And I think that there's a running back that proved last year that even with bad quarterback play, he can be incredible. And now that he has that quarterback back. So that's why I have CMC at number 2.
He had 21 touchdowns last year.
That's crazy.
Don't get me wrong. He had the yards too. Like, it's not like he's touchdown dependent, but that's an incredible amount of times to get into the end zone. And just don't know if that'll happen again.
We got double CMC takes at number 2 here on ITL. Just Luke.
This is where I have Kyron Williams.
Oh, okay. I like that. Talk to us, Luke.
Dude, it's just, I'm going by pure usage, right? So ever since Sean McVay's been there, they've been top 10 4 times in the last 7 years for just attempts by a running back. Top 10 4 times in the last 7 years. That's a lot of usage in a Sean McVay offense, right? So now he doesn't have to worry about, should Cam Akers play? Is Cam Akers going to play? It is literally his job to lose at this point, right? So I don't know what Arizona is going to be this year. That defense is bad. It's still not good. So, you know, the 49ers, you know, they're still good. That defense is still legit. But just off sheer usage, I think in a Sean McVay offense, he could absolutely finish top 3, and this is where I have him at 2.
I love that take. Davis, round us up on the top 2.
I mean, I think it has to be Brees just because I get what y'all are saying about CMC. I get the analytics. I get the touchdown. He had 100 points more than Brees Hall, who was second last year. I mean, that's just insane. I don't care what the touchdowns, 21. I mean, that's insane. But, like, you have to have him. You have to have CMC at 1 because he had more than 100 points difference in PPR as the RB1 last year.
Davis giving a spoiler to his number 1, I think, but we are at number 1 here. Thank you all of y'all who are still tuning in. Appreciate all the views and participation all over the place on different channels. We are going to number 1 over on ITL. The number 1 running back on my list. Let's cue it. I'm just kidding.
Oh, Zeke?
That's a joke. That's a joke. It's
okay.
Cut it.
I saw Cowboys. I didn't know.
Yeah, that was the joke. I was just kidding. It's Christian McCaffrey for me. Yeah, CMC gets that bid for a lot of the points that most people have already made on here. But his usage rate is still high. He's still 40% of that offense. He is, when on the field, he touches the football 65% of the time. I am not going to take away from that. As soon as he's either hurt or he is showing signs of regression, that's when I'll start moving down my list. But right now, CMC is going to stay one. The incumbent will stay at number one on my list. Davis, I think you hinted already. You're going CMC at 1. Yep.
Yeah,
so
I don't think. Yeah, there's no explanation.
Yeah. There you go. Just Luke, number 1. We got double CMC, triple CMC at 1. So Kenny, who's at 1 on your list?
Okay, so it's Breece Hall, and here's why. You had more receptions last year. I think that's going to continue this year, especially with Rodgers, because outside of Garrett Wilson, like Mike Williams can't stay healthy. Allen Lazard's kind of whatever. I think.
Whoa, Kenny. Your boy Allen? You're going to dog
right?
Allen right now?
The Jets last year finished, he had 9 touchdowns last year with Zach Wilson. So my prediction is he doubles that this year. I think he's like an 18 touchdown guy this year. I think that he's going to be unreal. I think he's going to have plenty of rushing yards. Also, Rodgers has had running backs in the past who have had good seasons. Like Aaron Jones had a very high touchdown season with him. Eddie Lacy was good with him back in the day as well. There have been running backs who have been very good in an Aaron Rodgers offense. And I think Aaron Rodgers, late in his career, is going to dump it off a lot more. He's not going to be airing it out as much as he has in the past. I think Breece could be close to 100 reception type running back. So give me Breece Hall as running back 1 this year.
We don't get a ton of head nods between the two of you, but Borak is nodding his head profusely.
Man, it's like Kenny was in my brain when he was putting his list together.
Because it's going to happen, and that's what I'll stand on.
Yeah, the only thing I would add, I agree with everything Kenny said, especially with the reception piece and the trash offensive line he played with last year. Zach Wilson, you don't have to say anymore. Like Kenny said, he had 76 receptions last year with Zach Wilson. Like, come on. He could easily push for 100 receptions with Aaron Rodgers. And he didn't even rush for 1,000 yards last year. And he was the second RB in PPR. So I definitely think with the Jets' improved offensive line, they made a lot of changes to that line. He's gonna rush for at least 1,100 to 1,200 yards, and his touchdown total is going to go up, just like Kenny said. And with the amount of receptions he's going to get, dude, he could easily push CMC for that top spot. So I have Breece Hall at number 1.
I'd love to see it. Iron sharpens iron. So we see 2 top running backs this year. If Aaron Rodgers stays healthy, we could see something crazy happening with Breece Hall. That is our top 10 running back list. Next week, we're going to have a consensus top wide receiver list. We're going to get those top 10s before the show and go through what our consensus ITL list will be. I'm excited to go over that list next week. But as always, we like to tell you guys what that BCMG parlay would be if you took all of the favorites with that spread. It's not terrible. And we are going to put money just like Davis is, right? 12-1 is what you'd get on that parlay if that were to pan out. I'm not joking. We are going to put some money on it, and we'll come back richer than most next week. You delinquents, don't put no money. Enjoy college football week 0 and enjoy Hurricane Ernesto this week. Let's do sign-offs. All right. Just Luke, tell the people where they can find you.
Did you just say enjoy a natural disaster? I
Absolutely.
So is this what we're doing this year? Is this what's
Yeah, it's a
happening this
natural
year?
disaster theme.
Okay.
As a matter of
All
fact,
right,
I
so
might have it just running across the bottom in just a second.
we're aiming for dumpster fire this year. Okay. All right. So yeah, you can follow me on Twitter at King of Hearts 82. You can see me on Twitch. I have been streaming for 2 days now, and I have been streaming just whatever I honestly want to stream. Ernest, it was really good being back with you guys today. As always, their help is available, guys. If you go to Google, simply just type in suicide hotline. You've got so many options here. You can call the number, you can text the number, a chat, or you can go to their official website for any help. And always reach out to your friends. Talk to somebody, man. There's always somebody willing to help and talk you through your mental illness or mental struggles. We all have them. We all wear a mask. So we can all get through this together. I'm always available on Twitter if you need to talk about something. So, Ernest, I appreciate it as always, and I will see you guys next week.
Absolutely. And just Luke, I'll tell you what, I missed the shout outs for that because you don't know how many people will be hit by that and then they'll appreciate you saying that on the air. So much love, much love. And again, the return of Davis Cordova. Can't appreciate it enough. Davis, thanks for coming on here. Tell people where they can find you.
Yeah, you can find me on Twitter. I think it's at Davis Cordova11. I'm not going to be tweeting much. I cover high schools in Oklahoma and sometimes at the University of Oklahoma. So I mean, I'm not going to be tweeting much, but I might throw out some picks for you also. So stay tuned.
The return of Davis Cordova. Appreciate you and thanks for jumping on tonight. This is going to be our regular crew. We're excited about this year. I'm excited to be going back and forth. He's a former co-host, but a great friend of the show. Kenny Cotterell, thank you so much for being on today. Kenny, tell people where they can find you.
Yeah, I've been replaced justifiably since I went into the witness protection program for a year. You can follow me at HedgePod. Got the morning show right now where we go through betting picks. Put out a winner this morning. As we head into football season, going to be plenty of other shows that we're doing as well. So appreciate you having me on, Ernest, as always. I will try and be more regular this season.
Awesome, man. Thank you so much. I actually think we should collect ITL milk cartons and just have a shelf on inside the studio and just have pictures of all of us. I mean, we can go from Miles Bloomquist to Trey Rogers and just have them continuously.
We can skip out on those two. I don't think that anyone's going to be super hurt by it. So
we're going with day one, natural disasters, Trey Rogers, Miles Bloomquist.
This is amazing so far. The return of ITL.
Banger weekend. Banger weekend.
And a 40.5 point spread. We'll just sprinkle that in.
And a 40.5 point spread that we're betting on. So I love that.
On a guarantee. Chris Borak, co-host of season 6. Thanks, my man. Talk to people. Where can they find you?
You can find me on X, PlusWalker99. Appreciate you having me on, especially being the co-host this year, Ernest. Thank you very much, and glad to be with you guys. Looking forward to a great year and a great season.
Absolutely. We didn't talk about it much on this show, but shout out to Bernie, Little League World Series, making it Saturday 2:00 game. Excited. That's the San Antonio suburbs of Bernie, Texas. So excited to see them in the Little League World Series. We'll be cheering on. I'm your host, Ernest Doc E. Silva. Excited to share the mic with all of you and excited to have a whole bunch of y'all watching tonight. We'll have much more fun as we come to the coming weeks. We have a mock draft. We have top 10 wide receivers next week. And then we get into the real pick'em of ITL starting the beginning of September. Y'all get some rest. Long episode. We're going to cut it shorter and shorter and get better at this with our group again. Thank you all for the support. Thank you all for the love. Have a great night, y'all.